जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। Hare Krishna. Welcome to Caitanya Pravaha online course. We have completed 2 sessions. Today is the 3rd session. In the first 2 sessions, we have completed the first 4 chapters of Adilila. In the first 14 shlokas of Adilila, Kaviraj Goswami describes Chaitanya Tattva, Nityananda Tattva, Advaita Tattva and Pancha Tattva. These 14 shlokas are very foundational for Adilila, and these 14 shlokas of Mangalacharan are described very elaborately in the first 7 chapters of Adilila. In the first 4 chapters, we have discussed the meaning of the first 6 shlokas of this Mangalacharan. In the first shloka, Kaviraj Goswami offered obeisances to the 6 diversities of the Absolute Truth. He said, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakan Tat Prakashamscha Tat Shaktihi Krishna Caitanya Samyakam. That Supreme Lord Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu manifests himself in 6 features: Guru, Isha Bhakta, Isha, Avatara, Prakasha, Shakti. I offer my obeisances unto these 6 features of that Supreme Lord. In the second shloka, Kaviraj Goswami offered obeisances to Gauranga and Nityananda. Vande Sri Krishna Caitanya Nityanandau Sahoditau Gaudodaye Pushpavantau Chitrau Shamdau Tamonudau. This Mahaprabhu, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, appeared like sun and moon on the horizon of Gaudiya, and they dissipated the darkness of the ignorance in the hearts of common people, and they bestowed auspiciousness through the association of book Bhagavata and person Bhagavata. We have seen these 2 shlokas, and these 2 shlokas put together come under the heading of Ishtadeva Namaskar. And the 3rd shloka of Mangalacharan defines the objective of this book. The objective of this book, Sri Caitanya-caritamrita, written by Kaviraj Goswami, is that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who manifested himself as Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And that Supreme Lord Krishna has 3 features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And because that Lord appeared in the form of Caitanya Mahaprabhu also has 3 features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, and he is the objective of this book. Quoting several verses from Bhagavatam, quoting especially 4 verses from Bhagavatam, like Vadanti tat tattvavidaha tattvam vijnanamadvayam narayanastvam nahi sarvadihinam, then ete chamsha kalapumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam, then atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanamotayah. Quoting these 4 shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaviraj Goswami establishes that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Krishna only appeared in the form of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the subject matter of the 2nd chapter of Caitanya-caritamrita. In the first chapter, Kaviraj Goswami elaborated on the first 2 shlokas, Ishtadeva Namaskara. In the 2nd chapter, he elaborated on the 3rd shloka of Mangalacharan. In the 3rd chapter, he elaborated the meaning of the 4th shloka of Mangalacharan. That shloka describes the Bahyavatara or the external reasons for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's descent. What are the 3 external reasons for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's descent? Number 1, he wanted to give Vraja Prema to all of us. Means loving Krishna in the mood of Vrajavasis. Second reason is he wanted to establish Yuga Dharma, which is congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Third external reason is Advaita Acharya prayed to Krishna, Krishna, please come, please descend on this earthly planet to transform the minds of materialistic people. So these are the three external reasons for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's descent, which are described in the 3rd chapter. Now in the 4th chapter of Adilila, Kaviraj Goswami explains the 5th and 6th shlokas of Mangalacharan that describe Gaura Tattva. Who is Gauranga Mahaprabhu? So, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Haladini Shakti Rasmat. We have already discussed all this. So, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is a combination of Radha and Krishna. Krishna appeared in the form of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu for 3 reasons. These 3 are very confidential, internal reasons. The reasons were, number 1, Krishna wanted to understand the greatness of Radharani's love. Second, Krishna wanted to understand the extent of his own sweetness that makes Radharani happy. And third, Krishna wanted to actually experience Radharani's happiness while she renders service to him. So these are the 3 internal reasons for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's descent. So this is a quick summary of the first 2 episodes, first 2 sessions that we had, in which we completed 4 chapters of Adilila. Now we will begin the 5th chapter of Adilila. In the first 4 chapters of Adilila, Kaviraj Goswami describes the Chaitanya Tattva. And in the 5th chapter of Adilila, Kaviraj Goswami describes Nityanandera Mahatva, means the greatness or the glory or the Tattva of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is not different from Balaramji, the elder brother of Krishna. So in this chapter we will describe Nityananda Tattva, and in the next chapter, means the 6th chapter, we will describe Advaita Tattva. In the 7th chapter we will see Pancha Tattva. So we hope to complete all these tattvas in today's session. So let's begin with the 5th chapter. In the first shloka of the 5th chapter, Kaviraj Goswami says, Vande Anantadbhutaishwaryam Shri Nityanandam Ishwaram Yasyechaya Tatsvarupam Agnenapi Nirupyati. Vande Ananta Adbhuta Aishwaryam. That Nityananda Prabhu has Ananta, unlimited, Adbhuta, wonderful, Aishwaryam, opulence. Right? Sri Nityanandam Ishwaram, that's Nityananda Prabhu, who is non different from Balaramji, is also Ishwara, he is also the controller. Krishna is the supreme controller, Balaramji also is the supreme controller. And that same Krishna and Balaram appeared as Gauranga and Nityananda. So, yes, yechaya tat swarupam agnenapi nirupyate. By the ichha, by the desire or by the empowerment of Nityananda Prabhu, even an ignorant person also can establish the truth or describe the tattva of Nityananda Prabhu. So we will be able to describe the glories of Nityananda Prabhu only by his mercy. So Kaviraj Goswami is putting himself in the place of a common man who needs blessings of the Supreme Lord to accomplish anything. Of course, Kaviraj Goswami has been specifically empowered to describe Chaitanya Tattva, Nityananda Tattva, and Kaviraj Goswami is empowered directly by Nityananda Prabhu and also Madan Mohan Diti. We will see in today's discussion. So now, let's discuss about the identity of Balaramji. In the 4th and 5th shlokas of this chapter, Kaviraj Goswami says, Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tahara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balaram Ekaye Swarupa Dohe Bhinna Matra Kai Adya Kaya Vyuha Krishna Leela Rasahai. Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. He is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is Avatari. Avatara means incarnation. Avatari means the source of all incarnations. Avatari means that person from whom all incarnations emanate. So Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tahara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balaram. And that Krishna's second form, Dvitiya Deha means second body or second form, is Shri Balaram. Ekayayi Swarupa Dohe Bhinna Matra Kai. Both of them have the same identity, but Bhinna Matra Kai, their bodies are different. They manifested in 2 different forms, potentially both are same, right? So, Adya Kaya Vyuha Krishna Leela Rasahai. Why this kind of separation has happened? Because Balaramji, who is in one sense non-different from Krishna, will assist Krishna in his pastimes. Leelara Sahai. So now we have seen in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna is the main hero. He is the predominant personality. He is the one who performs all enchanting pastimes in Vrindavan. So Balaramji acts as a servant of Krishna, and Balaramji renders service to Krishna in 3 rasas. One, Dasya rasa, as a servant. When Krishna is tired, Balaramji will press his feet or fan him in the forest. And Balaramji also renders service to Krishna in Sakhya rasa, like a friend. Krishna along with so many co-head boys, and Balaramji also accompanies him. So they are all like friends. So Balaramji serves Krishna in Sakhya rasa also. They both play like friends. And Balaramji also renders service to Krishna in Vatsalya rasa. Means as an elder brother, he has affection, Vatsalya affection towards Krishna. So in this way, Krishna only manifested himself as Balaram, and Balaramji renders so many services to Krishna and helps him in performing pastimes. So that is the role of Balaramji. So that Balaramji appears in various forms. So that Balaramji is not different from Nityananda Prabhu. So Balaramji only comes as Nityananda Prabhu, just like Krishna came as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So that Balaramji further expands, Nityananda Balaram further expands himself into 5 forms to render specific services to the Lord. The first form is Sankarshana in the spiritual world. So he is the source of all different avatars in this world. Sankarshana karanato yashayi garbhodashayi chapayobdhishayi seshascha yasyam shakala sanityam nandakya ramaha sharanam mamastu. So that Nityananda Balaram is the source of 5 different forms. Sankarshana, first form. Karanatoyashayi. Karana means this causal ocean. Karanatoya means the causal ocean. Shai means one who lies down on the causal ocean. That is Karanodaka Sai Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So first form is Sankarshana, second form is Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. The third form is Garbhodashai, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. Fourth form, Payobdhishai. Paya means milk. Payabdhi means milk ocean, means Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. Then Sesha means Seshanag, the snake bed of the Lord. So these are the 5 forms in which Nityananda Balaramji expands to render service to Krishna. Sankarshana, the 3 Purushavasaras, and one is Sesha, Seshanaga. So now Kaviraj Goswami elaborately describes the identities and the activities and the glories of these 5 forms in the first half of this beautiful chapter. So Balaramji is the Mula Sankarshana. From Balaramji comes this Sankarshana. And who is this Sankarshana? There are 4 forms of the Lord, quadruple forms. They are Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha in the spiritual world. So Balaramji is the source of these 4 forms. And Sankarshana, Mula Sankarshana is in the middle of these, this Chaturvyuha. They are called Chaturvyuha forms. So now that is about Sankarshana. So now in the spiritual world is also called Paravyoma. It's the spiritual sky. So Krishna is in this Goloka planet, and apart from this Goloka planet of Krishna, there are so many other Vaikuntha planets in the Paravyoma, in the spiritual sky, right? So also in the spiritual sky there is Goloka Vrindavan Dham, there is Dwaraka Dham, there is Mathura Dham, and many other Vaikuntha planets, right? So Goloka is the highest of all of them, and that Goloka also comes to this earthly planet as Gokula Vrindavan. So in which Krishna and Balaram would descend and then perform various enchanting pastimes. So that Goloka Dham is Chintamani Bhumi. It's filled with desire trees, and everything there is made with Chintamani stones. And one who has eyes tinged with love for the Lord only can perceive and understand the glories of that Chintamani Dham. So now the Lord, that Supreme Lord who is the Lord of Goloka Vrindavan, also manifests himself as Balaram, and Balaramji expands himself as Sankarshana or Chaturvyuha and Sankarshana is in the middle of all of them. So now there is this Mahasankarshana. There is Mula Sankarshana in the first Chaturvyuha, and from first Chaturvyuha there is another Chaturvyuha comes. Why all these Chaturvyuha forms and different Vishnu forms exist in the spiritual world? Just so that the Supreme Lord can enjoy in various forms, right? So variety is the mother of enjoyment. So the Lord manifests himself in different forms and different moods and different attires. He is rendered service by different servants. They are also manifestations of his potencies. So like that the Lord enjoys. He is the supreme enjoyer and he enjoys in unlimited ways. So now Lord Sankarshana is a part of Chaturvyuha, first Chaturvyuha called Adi Chaturvyuha. In that Sankarshana is in the middle, and from that Chaturvyuha another Chaturvyuha comes. That is Dvitiya Chaturvyuha. And there also Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha will manifest. The first Sankarshana is called Mula Sankarshana and the second Sankarshana is called Mahasankarshana. And this Mahasankarshana is the shelter of all jivas. So that is little bit about Mahasankarshana, Sankarshana form of the Supreme Lord Balaramji or Nityananda Balaram. So now that Sankarshana expands himself as Karanodaka Sai Vishnu in this material realm. Now Sankarshana is there in the spiritual world. Mula Sankarshana and Mahasankarshana are there in the spiritual world. But Mahasankarshana expands himself as Karanodaka Sai Vishnu in the material realm. So that is the next shloka. Maya bharta janda sangha shrayangah sete sakshat karanam bodhi madhye yasyaikam Shri Puman adidevah tam Shri Nityananda Ramam prapadye. So this Karanodaka Sai Vishnu is an amsha of Nityananda Prabhu, is an amsha, a partial representation, partial expansion of Nityananda Prabhu or Nityananda Balaram. And he lies on the causal waters. He lies on the waters of the causal ocean, right? And this is spiritual water, and Ganges river is just a drop of this Karana ocean. So when Vamanadev became Trivikrama, Vamanadev went to Bali Maharaj to beg some 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaj said, okay fine, take 3 steps of land, and Vamanadev became Trivikrama, he occupied the entire universe. So with the 2 steps, he occupied entire universe. And when the Lord lifted his one leg to enter the Antariksha, the outer space, he pierced the coverings of the universe, and the waters of causal ocean which are outside the universe entered the universe in the form of Ganges river, right? So that's why Karanodaka ocean is the source of Ganges river also. So now that Mahavishnu or Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, who lies on the causal ocean, he casts glance on Maya or the material energy, and by his glance he impregnates the jivas within the womb of this material energy or Maya. And when he exhales, millions of universes come out of his divine transcendental bodily pores. Millions of universes are coming out when he is exhaling, right? And when he inhales, all the universes will enter back into his body. Now when he exhales, universes are coming out. We have seen in the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam the entire process of creation. First the universe comes out of the Lord's body as Pradhana, a small seed form of the universe. And by the glance of the Lord, by the influence of time factor, which is also an energy of the Lord, that Pradhana transforms into Mahattattva, and Mahattattva transforms into Ahankara, and Ahankara gives rise to different elements, material elements. All these material elements form the universe, the big universe, and Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu and enters each and every universe. That we have seen in the Bhagavata Pravaha already. Now, this Mahavishnu is the source of all these millions of universes. And when he exhales, universes are coming out. When he inhales, they go in. Means the entire existence of this entire universe is only during one breathing period of Mahavishnu. And how long this universe exists? 100 years of Brahma. In one day of Brahma, there are 1000 Divya Yugas. One day of Brahma is also called Kalpa, and in that one day of Brahma there are 1000 Divya Yugas. One Divya Yuga is the combination of 4 Yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. These 4 Yugas put together is one Divya Yuga. This is also called Chatur Yuga. Like that, there are 1000 Chatur Yugas. All of them are there in one day of Brahma. Like that, 30 days of Brahma constitute one of his months. And 12 months of Brahma constitute 1 year. Like that, 100 years is the duration of this one universe. And that 100 years of Brahma is nothing but one breathing period of Mahavishnu. You can only understand how great Mahavishnu is. During his one breathing period, 100 years of Brahma are passed, and Brahma, within his one eye blink, we may pass several lifetimes. So, in comparison to Brahma, the life of human beings is so insignificant. So, if Brahma is so great, so Brahma who exists only for one breathing period of Mahavishnu, how significant is the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu, and that Mahavishnu is an Amsha of Nityananda Balaram, okay, and he is an expansion of Krishna. So like that, the difference between an ordinary Jiva and Krishna is really vast. So now all these facts about Karanodaka Sai Vishnu or Mahavishnu are described by Kaviraj Goswami while explaining this verse. So universes emanate from his skin pores, and he is an expansion of Balaram and all that. So now we will discuss about the third form of Nityananda Balaram. So in the beginning of the chapter we have seen there are 5 forms of Nityananda Balaram: Sankarshana, Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. Now third is Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, that we will see now. So when all the universes manifest from the bodily pores of Mahavishnu, that Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu and enters each and every universe. Mahavishnu is only one. So there is only one Karanodaka Sai Vishnu lying on the causal ocean, but there are millions and millions of universes coming out of his bodily pores. So he expands himself into millions and millions of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnus. Only one Mahavishnu is there, but Garbhodaka Sai Vishnus are as many as there are number of universes, right? So he enters into the universe. Yashyam Sham Shah Srila Garbhodashai Yannabhi Abjam Loka Sanghatanalam Lokasrashtuhu Sutika Dhamadhatuhu Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. Now, when Kaviraj Goswami was describing Mahavishnu, he said Yashyam Shah, means Mahavishnu is an Amsha of Nityananda. Now here he says Yashyam Sham Shah, means Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is an Amsha of Nityananda. Okay. And when he describes Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, he says Yashyam Sham Sham Shah, means Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is an Amsha of the Amsha of Nityananda Balaram. Right? So expansion of an expansion of an expansion of the Lord. So now you can see Nityananda Balaram is so great. So now Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu enters into the universe. So Yannabhi Abjam Loka Sanghatanalam, from the lotus navel of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, the universal lotus sprouts, and this universal lotus is the source of Loka Sanghatanalam. It's the source of all the different planetary systems within the universe, right? And that universal lotus is also the birthplace of Lord Brahma. So that's the glory of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. And next, there are many more details, we will not discuss all of them. Now Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is the fourth form of Nityananda Balaram. So Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is Yashyam Sham Sham Shah Prarthe Paratmakhilanam Poshtha Vishnur Bhati Dugdhabdishai. Dugdha means milk. Paya also means milk. Kshira is also milk. That's why Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is called Kshirabdhishai, Dugdhabdishai, Payobdhishai. These are all same. So now an expansion of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. He is the one who lies on the milk ocean while Lakshmi Devi is pressing his feet so lovingly with so much devotion. Now He is the one who expands himself as Paramatma or the super soul within the hearts of all living beings, even all the atoms in the universe. Now, he is the super soul. Total there are 3 super souls. Karanodaka Sai Vishnu is the super soul of entire material realm. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is the super soul of one universe. And Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is the super soul of every individual living entity and also even individual atoms. Now one may think, okay, there is Atma in my body, there is Paramatma also. So for the functioning of Atma, Paramatma is needed. He is the one who sanctions. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. The super soul stays within the hearts of every single living being. He is the source of our remembrance, forgetfulness and knowledge that we know. Now, if you see that the Lord is there accompanying the soul within every single body, in the bodies of human beings or even devatas or trees and tigers, animals or birds or any other living beings, there is soul and there is super soul also, that we understand. But why the Lord has to be there in every single atom? Atom may not be living entity, right? There are so many earth particles, there are so many things in the universe which are non-living in nature. Why the Lord has to be there also? Because the Lord as the super soul is the active principle. He is the source of the characteristics of even non-living beings also. Stone is hard, water is having certain taste. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Rasohamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shishuryayoham Jivanam sarva bhuteshu. Now Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Let's focus on this line. So water is a material element. But when we drink water, that quenches our thirst. So where did water get that quality? From the super soul. So Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Krishna is the source of the taste within water. So water got the characteristic of being wet or having certain taste because of Krishna. Earth has fragrance because of Krishna. Now you say you take some sugar on your tongue. So sugar particle is very sweet. Or you eat some mirchi. It's very pungent. You may get tears in your eyes, right? If you don't like spicy foods. Nayanam galadhashrudharaya vadanam gadgadaruddhaya gira. So now mirchi, this chili is very hot and sugar particle is very sweet. So where did they get these properties? Now in a sugar particle there is no Atma, but there is Paramatma. Because there is Paramatma in the sugar particle is sweet. There may not be any Atma there, but there is Paramatma. Okay? Who is the source of the characteristics of all these atoms also, even non-living entities also. So the Lord is the super soul. That's a little bit about Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, who manifests himself as Paramatma in everybody's heart and even in atoms. Now next, 5th form, last form of Nityananda Prabhu. Of course he has unlimited forms, but in these are the 5 prominent forms in which the Lord serves Krishna. So Kshauni Bharta Yat Kala Sopyanantah. Kala means a minor expansion, an expansion of an expansion of an expansion, like that. So now Sesha is Kala, is a minor expansion of the Lord, and Kshauni Bharta, on the hoods of Sesha, Ananta Sesha, this entire Bhumandala exists, means he carries the Bhumandala on his head. So actually Ananta Sesha was the son of Kadru. So there are 2 ladies, Vinata and Kadru. Vinata was the mother of Garudaji, and Garuda is eagle, okay, and Kadru is the mother of all the snakes. So Ananta Sesha is the firstborn snake, and Kaliya is also the son of Kadru. So actually in the beginning of the universe, apparently human mothers also give birth to different species. So that we discussed in Bhagavatam, and we can discuss some other time. So this Ananta Sesha was once approached by Krishna. So Krishna told Anantasesha, so you are such a powerful snake, so can you hold this Bhumandala on your hoods, right? So because Anantasesha is a Shiktyavesh avatar of the Lord, who is endowed with the power of Bhudharana Shakti, means the power to hold Bhumandala on his head. So now Krishna asked Anantasesha, please hold the Bhumandala on your head. Then Anantasesha says, okay, I will take up this service, but how long should I do this service? Then Krishna said, fine. Actually, Krishna wanted Anantasesha to hold Bhumandala forever, throughout the duration of the universe. So Anantasesha is asking a timeline. So how long should I hold? So then Krishna very cleverly said that, my dear Anantasesha, you chant my glories, you chant my holy names, right? You chant all my holy names and qualities. So when you complete it, you can keep the Bhumandala down and you can relax. So very cleverly he engaged. Is there any end to the unlimited names of Krishna, unlimited qualities of Krishna, unlimited pastimes of Krishna? So nantam vidamyahamami munayograjaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye gayan gunanda shashatanana adideva seshodhunapi nabhavastyati nastya param. So in the second canto of Bhagavatam, this shloka comes. It says that Anantasesha has been glorifying Krishna, chanting Krishna's name since time immemorial, and it may continue for the rest of eternity, it seems. And he has never reached an end till now, because Krishna's names are unlimited. So Krishna tricked Anantasesha to hold the Bhumandala throughout the duration of the universe. And Anantasesha said, okay, fine, I will hold the Bhumandala, but who will hold me? Because below these 14 planetary systems, there is Garbhodaka ocean. So Anantasesha has to hold on the Garbhodaka ocean and then hold Bhumandala. So then he asked, Anantasesha asked Krishna, so who will hold me? If I am holding Bhumandala, who will hold me? Then Krishna expanded himself as Kurma, and then he went under Anantasesha. So there is Kurma, Kachapa, and then there is Anantasesha. On top of Anantasesha there is this Bhumandala, so this entire universe. So in this way, Ananta is the holder of this entire earth. So Kshauni Bharta. So these are various glories of Anantasesha and Kshirodakasaya Vishnu. And these are basically the 5 forms of Nityananda Ram. Sankarshana, Kshirodakasaya Vishnu, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, Karanodakasaya Vishnu and Seshanag. So now that Ananta, that Nityananda Balaram may be sometimes called as Ananta. Why is it so? Because there is nothing wrong in it. But when you call Nityananda as Ananta or address him with any of his expansions, like it's not, it's only representing a partial glory of Nityananda Prabhu. It's not a complete description, but there's nothing wrong in it. For example, somebody may be a president of say temple, right? We may be living in temples, president of temple. And the temple president may be doing arti, okay, may be doing sandhya arti or may be dressing. Now you may call that president as pujari because he is doing puja. But one may not restrict him to that puja only. He has much more serious responsibilities in the temple, overall temple administration, right? So calling him a pujari is not a wrong description of temple president, but it's only a smaller description, right? It's only a partial description of his glory. Similarly, sometimes Krishna may be called as Narayana, but Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord, endowed with all powers, all opulences. But sometimes the Supreme Lord also may be addressed with the names of some of his minor expansions. Sometimes Krishna is called Vishnu, like that. So that's little bit about the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. Now, just like Balaramji, I already mentioned this, Balaramji renders service to Krishna in 3 rasas. Vatsalya rasa, then also Sakhya rasa, and also Dasya rasa. Actually, Balaramji serves Krishna in all 5 rasas. because he expands as Ananga Manjari and then serves as in Madhurya Rasa also, and he also expands himself as bed and paraphernalia and other things, and he renders service to Krishna and Shanta Rasa also. But in different contexts, only partial description is mentioned. So Balramji is a portion of Krishna, and Balramji identifies himself as a servant of Krishna. Similarly, Nityananda Prabhu also identifies himself as servant of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. It's very natural. So Krishna is the only controller, and all his expansions are partial representations of Krishna, and they also identify themselves as servants of Krishna. This we will see in the next chapter more vividly, more elaborately. In this context, Kaviraj Goswami says, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Bhrityam Yarayaiche Nachaya Seitaiche Karendrityam. Ekale Ishvara Krishna, there is only one Ishvara, controller, that is Krishna. Arasabha Bhritya, everyone else is a servant of Krishna. So Yarayaiche Nachaya Seitaiche Karendritya. The way Krishna makes them dance, Krishna dances accordingly. Their expansions, Krishna's expansions dance. So Krishna makes them dance, and these expansions are avatars of Krishna also dance according to Krishna's directions. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is also Ishvara, he is also the Supreme Lord, because Krishna only becomes Lord Caitanya. So if Krishna is the Supreme Ishvara, Mahaprabhu is also the Supreme Ishvara. And Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya, they are all expansions of the Lord, and they also act according to the Lord's will, right? So now both Lord Caitanya and Nityananda Prabhu are the Supreme Lords. So now in this context, Kaviraj Goswami describes one incident, one small story, pastime. Okay, so to exhibit the power of devotees of Nityananda Prabhu, servants of Nityananda Prabhu. There is a great personality named Miniketana Ramadasa. So Miniketana Ramadasa is a reservoir of love of the Lord, and he has ecstatic symptoms. He is a devotee of Nityananda Prabhu, of course Gauranga Mahaprabhu also. So he now he exhibits ecstatic symptoms. Sometimes in ecstasy, he even climbs on someone's shoulders and then sheds constant tears, and then he trembles, he shouts, and in spiritual joy he does so many things, right, out of his ecstasy. So once there is another personality named Gunarnava Mishra. So now this Gunarnava Mishra was serving the deity of the Lord, Krishna, and he doesn't seem to be having great regard for Nityananda Prabhu. So everybody is coming and offering obeisances to Miniketan Ramadas, but Gunarnava Mishra did not offer obeisances to this Miniketan Ramadas. So this indirectly indicated his disregard for a devotee of Nityananda Prabhu. So definitely he has high regards for Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he does not have much regard for Nityananda Prabhu. Miniketan Ramadas did not like it. He even said that this person is behaving like Roma Harshana Sutta, right? And even Kaviraj Goswami's brother also had somewhat similar tendency, because he does not have high regard for Nityananda Prabhu, and Kaviraj Goswami rebuked his brother, and that pleased Miniketan Ramadas. So this is like small incident mentioned. So now Nityananda Prabhu appears in the dream of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and it is Nityananda Prabhu who instructs Kaviraj Goswami to go to Vrindavan. He said, go to Vrindavan and you will get all things there. So Nityananda Prabhu once appeared in the dream of Kaviraj Goswami, and he appeared in a very bluish dress, and he has very wonderful complexion, and he has so many other cowhead boys rendering service to him. So Nityananda Prabhu was very astonished to see this darshan of Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu instructed him, my dear Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, immediately go to Vrindavan and you will get everything there. You will attain all things there. He did not say exactly what it is. So Nityananda Prabhu instructed him like this, and Kaviraj Goswami went to Vrindavan. So there Kaviraj Goswami attained the shelter of the lotus feet of all the 6 Goswamis. And Sanatana Kripaya Payanu Bhakti Rasiddhanta Shri Rupa Kripaya Payanu Bhakti Rasa Pranta. Kaviraj Goswami says, by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami I could understand the tattva of bhakti, and by the mercy of Rupa Goswami I could understand various rasas in bhakti. So I got the mercy of Rupa and Sanatan by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, because he instructed me to come to Vrindavan. And out of his great humility, Kaviraj Goswami says, Jagai madhai haite mui se papishtam, pushiresha kitala haite mui se laghishtam, mora nama sunayai tara punya lesha, tara punya kshayam, mora nama layayai tara papahaya. Now, Jagai madhai haite mui se papishta. I am more sinful than Jagai and Madhai, and I am much degraded than worms in stool also. Just by uttering my names, people will get contaminated by sinful reactions. I am such a lowly and fallen person, but I am a recipient of Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, and I am a recipient of the mercy of Goswamis. So here Kaviraj Goswami was in 90s, he was very advanced in age, and he had such great memory to write this comprehensive literature of Caitanya-caritamrita, and not only describing the pastimes of Lord Caitanya, also describing the deep philosophy and tattva of Lord Caitanya, Nityananda, Advaita and Panchatattva. So Kaviraj Goswami's scholarship and devotion are very high, but humility is also very high. So just scholarship and knowledge is not sufficient. That should be accompanied by humility. Then only it will shine. So now he says, Preme matta Nityananda kripa avatar, uttama adhama kichu nakare vichar. So he does not, Nityananda Prabhu is extremely magnanimous that he does not discriminate between who is qualified for mercy and who is not qualified for mercy. Nityananda Prabhu profusely bestows mercy upon even fallen people also, and Kaviraj Goswami considered himself as a fallen person, and he considered himself not so deserving or totally unqualified to receive Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. That's the humility of Kaviraj Goswami. We will see more of his humble disposition in the 8th chapter of this Adilila. And when Kaviraj Goswami came to Vrindavan, he went to Madan Mohan temple. So he wanted to take permission from Madan Mohan to write Caitanya-caritamrita. So as an indication of his blessings, Madan Mohan dropped one garland that he was wearing, and Pujari brought that garland and offered it to Kaviraj Goswami. You can see in this picture. So Kaviraj Goswami felt so fortunate. I received the blessings of Nityananda, I received the blessings of Madan Mohan. The cause of these blessings is Nityananda Prabhu's blessings, right? By Nityananda Prabhu's blessing, I got the mercy of Govinda and also Madan Mohan. So this is the deep humility that is exhibited by our Kaviraj Goswami. So now Nityananda Prabhura Guna Mahima Apar Sahasravadane Seshannahi Payayar. So Nityananda Prabhu's guna and mahima is apar, unlimited qualities he has, unlimited greatness he has. Mahima, apar. So Sahasravadane Sesha Nahi Payayar. And even Sahasravadana means 1,000-hooded Ananta also cannot sufficiently describe the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. So with these words, Kaviraj Goswami concludes the 5th chapter of Adilila, where he described elaborately the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. And he says it's not sufficient, right? So we completed the 5th chapter. Let's enter the 6th chapter. 6th chapter describes the glories of Advaita Acharya. This is another nourishing and deep chapter, very relishable chapter. So now let's discuss the tattva of Advaita Acharya. Now we have been elaborating the first 14 shlokas of Adilila. They are the Mangalacharan. In the first 6 shlokas, Chaitanya Tattva is established. These 6 shlokas are elaborately described in the first 4 chapters. And the next 5 shlokas, means shloka number 7 till 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Till 11 is Nityananda Tattva, that's described in the 5th chapter. Now 6th chapter describes 2 more shlokas, 12th and 13th shlokas of Mangalacharan. And these 2 shlokas describe the Advaita Tattva. Let's discuss them. Mahavishnur Jagat Kartam Mayayaya Srijatyadaham Tasyavatara Evayam Advaitacharya Ishwarah, Mahavishnur Jagatkarta. We have already seen in the previous chapter, Mahavishnu is the creator of the universes. Tasya avatara evayam, and the incarnation of that Mahavishnu is Advaitacharya. So Advaitacharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. Advaitam harina dvaitat acharyam bhakti shamshanat bhaktavataramisham tam advaitacharyam ashrayim. Advaitam harina advaitat. So Advaitacharya is called Advaita because he is harina advaitat, means he is non-different from Lord Hari or Mahavishnu. That's why he is called Advaita. And why is he called Acharya? Acharyam bhakti shamshanat. He is called Acharya because he propagates the knowledge and the process of devotional service, bhakti. Because he is the propagator of bhakti, he is called Acharya. So, Bhaktavataram, he is an incarnation of the Lord but playing the role of a devotee. Bhaktavataram Ishamtam. He is an avatara in the mode of a devotee. Isham, he is Isha, the Supreme Lord only. The Supreme Lord's avatara only. But he is in the form of a devotee. Bhaktavataram Ishamtam Advaita Acharya Ashraye. Let us offer obeisances and take shelter of Advaitacharya. So that completes the meaning of these two shlokas, Advaitacharya shlokas, 12th and 13th shlokas of Mangalacharan. But there is elaborate description of this shloka. Now, you see, Mahavishnu performs all functions of the creation of the universe and Advaitacharya is the direct incarnation, that we have seen. So, what is this Bhaktavatara? The word Bhaktavatara is elaborated throughout the chapter here. So, Jagata Mangala Advaita Mangala Gunadham Mangala Charitra Sada Mangala Yaranam. Advaitacharya is Jagata Mangala Advaita. He causes auspiciousness for the entire universe. Mangala Gunadham, he is an abode of all auspicious qualities. Mangala Charitra Sada, and his charitra, his character or his whole life is filled with auspiciousness. And Mangala Yaranam, even uttering his name itself is very auspicious. So now, before elaborating the word Bhaktavatara, there is little more description, which we have already seen before. It is Advaitacharya who has brought Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu to this planet. So, Advaitacharya, who appeared much before Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu as his elder, he used to worship Krishna. And he used to explain Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the light of bhakti, devotional service unto Krishna. And he is known as Acharya because he propagates the process of devotional service or bhakti. He is also called Kamalaksha because he has lotus eyes. And he is the principal limb or the main associate of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Yaradvara Kaila Prabhu Kari Kirtana Prachar Yaradvara Kaila Prabhu Jagatanistar. Through Advaitacharya, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu spreads Sankirtan. And through Advaitacharya, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu delivers the entire universe. Kirtana Prachar and Jagatanistar. Kirtana Prachar means propagating Kirtan. Jagatanistar means delivering the entire universe. These two things Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu does through Advaitacharya. He is very principal and intimate associate of the Lord. So, Advaitacharya's glorious attributes are unlimited. And he is the one who calls Krishna with loud calls. He worships Krishna or Shaligram with tulasi water and tulasi leaves and Ganges water, and requests Krishna to appear as an incarnation and spread this Yuga Dharma. Right? So now, that Advaitacharya, although he appeared as an elder of Lord Caitanya, you see Advaitacharya is very old and Mahaprabhu is very young. He appeared much after Advaitacharya. But Advaitacharya is in the mood of servant. He says, I am Chaitanya Das. So I am just a servant of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So now this emotion of being a servant of Krishna is so nourishing to all his devotees. So all the devotees of Krishna, whichever rasa they may belong to, they may be belonging to, they all are overwhelmed with the emotion of being a servant of Krishna. Krishnadasa abhimane ye ananda sindhu, koti brahma sukha nahe tara eka bindu. Krishnadasa abhimani ye ananda sindhu means the abhiman, the emotion of being a servant of Krishna. Krishnadasa abhimana ye ananda sindhu. It is an ocean of ananda. Krishnadasa abhimani ye ananda sindhu, koti brahma sukha nahe tara eka bindu. In front of one drop of this oceanic bliss of being a servant of Krishna, even a big ocean of Brahmananda also is incomparable. So, the happiness of being a servant of Krishna is way superior to the happiness of identifying oneself with Krishna in Brahman realization, right? So, the emotion of being a servant of Krishna is the highest emotion, right? And it's not just the emotion of Advaitacharya who is Bhaktavatara. There are so many avatars, they also think themselves as Bhakta. There are so many expansions of Krishna. There are so many associates of Krishna. All of them are imbued with the emotion of being a servant of Krishna. Now you see there is Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is the consort of Krishna. She is always seen massaging the Lord's feet. Janudvayam jala jalo chanaya jananya lakshmyakhilasya suravanditaya vidhatuhu urvornidhaya karapallavarochishayat samlalitam hridi vibhor abhavasya kuryat. Janudvayam jalajalocanaya jananya. With her two hands, Lakshmi is always seen massaging the feet of Krishna. Jalajalocanaya, lotus-eyed Lakshmi sitting on the lotus, she is very attached to massaging the feet of the Lord. Lakshmyakhilasya suravanditaya vidhatuhu. Although different demigods, including Brahma and even Indra, also worship Lakshmi Devi to get some fortune, to get her blessings. Still, Lakshmi keeps aside all her fan following and then renders service to the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna himself, Vishnu himself says in the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, 16th chapter, he says, Yat sevaya charana padma pavitra renum sadyah kshatakhilam pratilabdha shilam nashrir viraktim apimam vijahati yasya prekshalavartha itare niyaman vahanti. Nashrir viraktim apimam vijahati yasya means, although I have virakti, although I am not very attached to Lakshmi Devi, still she is attached to rendering service to me. Although so many people are following her, still he follows me, she follows me. So to that degree Lakshmi renders service to Vishnu, and she also is overwhelmed with feelings of being a servant of Krishna. I am just a maid servant of Krishna. I am a maid servant in the Vaikuntha. So now Lakshmi, what is her activity in Vaikuntha Dham? She sweeps the floors and the walls of Vaikuntha. Shri Rupini Kvanayati Charana Ravindam Leelambujena Harisadmani Mukta Doshaham Samla. So now you see, Leelambujena Harisadmani Mukta Doshaha. Harisadmani means in the house of Lord Hari. This Shri Rupini, our Lakshmi Devi, sweeps the floors, right, with her beautiful lotus feet emanating the sound of her anklets. Right, she walks in the floors of Vaikuntha and then cleans those floors. Right, yad anugrahanena yatnaha, endeavoring to get a slight trace of Krishna's mercy. That is her duty, because she considers herself as a servant of Krishna. So even the consorts of Krishna also are overwhelmed with a feeling of being servants of Krishna. Then Krishna's associates like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, 4 Kumaras, they also think themselves to be servants of Krishna. And Nityananda Avadhuta also thinks himself to be a servant of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And all the associates of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, whether it be Murari Gupta or elders like Advaitacharya or Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, there are so many such devotees of the Lord, they all think themselves as servants of the Lord. And Advaitacharya thinks that Lord Caitanya is my Guru and I am his servant. And you see, this is the nature of Krishna Prema. It is Krishna Prema, or love that one has for Krishna, that makes them feel we are servants of Krishna. Our greatest fortune is to render some seva to Krishna. They may be having parental mood, they may be having the mood of a Sakhya Bhakta or a friend of Krishna, they may be having conjugal mood, but in all these rasas also, the emotion of being a servant of Krishna is very much there. Nanda Maharaj is the elder of Krishna, he is the superior of Krishna, he is the father of Krishna, but he wants to serve Krishna like a servant, right? So, not with feelings of reverence, he is attached to his own Vatsalya Bhava in Kevala Bhakti. So, there are two types of, now there are different rasas, right? Madhurya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Sakhya rasa, Dasya rasa. So, all these rasas, all the devotees in these rasas can render service to the Lord in two flavors. One is Kevala, second is Aishwarya Jnana Yukta. For example, Devaki and Vasudev render Vatsalya Prema, show Vatsalya Prema on Krishna with Aishwarya Jnana Yukta Prema. Means they definitely love Krishna as their child, Vasudeva and Devaki, but sometimes they have feelings of reverence. Sometimes they see Krishna as God, they offer prayers to God, they offer prayers to Krishna. And you see, Krishna, as soon as he took birth in Kamsa's jail, he left Vasudeva and Devaki and then he came to Vrindavan. And after one decade, Krishna again goes back to Mathura and he kills Kamsa. Then after a decade, Vasudeva and Devaki were seeing Krishna, but they were not immediately coming and embracing Krishna, hugging Krishna and then showering their affection. They immediately folded their hands, offering obeisances to Krishna. Oh, you have killed Kamsa and protected us from his jail. So they went into feelings of reverence. And Krishna did some magic. Oh, he felt very uncomfortable. I am meeting my mother after a decade and then she is offering dandavats to me. Krishna was not comfortable. So he did some magic and spell and then Devaki and Vasudeva immediately showed their parental feelings. So one flavor is Aishwarya Jnana Yukta, means having parental affection towards Krishna, but also coming under reverential feelings. But Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, they have Kevala Vatsalya Prema. They never think Krishna is God. They always think Krishna is their son, 8-year-old kids, and even if Krishna is 100 years old, Mother Yashoda will make Krishna sit on her lap and then kiss him and then hug him. Right? That is her pure Vatsalya Prema. But they also consider themselves as servants of Krishna in that Kevala flavor. So that is the nature of Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema Raye Eka Apurva Prabhav Guru Sama Laghuke Karaya Dasya Bhav. Krishna Prema Raye Apurva Prabhav, that is the unique influence of Krishna Prema. What is that? Guru means superiors, Sama means equals, Laghuke means inferiors or youngers, juniors. All these three categories of people who interact with Krishna are imbued with feelings of servants of Krishna, like that. So now Vatsalya Prema also has Dasya Bhava, Sakhya Prema also has Dasya Bhava, like Sridama, Sudama, they all render service to Krishna. Sometimes Krishna is fatigued in the forest, Krishna lies down under a tree and one devotee, one Gopa will come and then offer his lap so that Krishna can use it as pillow. Another Gopa will come and then fan Krishna. Another Gopa will come and then massage Krishna's feet. They are all rendering service to Krishna as servants, but they are friends, right? So then Madhurya Bhava. Even all the gopis of Vrindavan also consider themselves as Krishna's maid servants. Okay, they left everything for Krishna. Pati sutanvayat bhratrubandhavat ativilanghyate achyutagataha gativirastavo udgita mohitaha ketava yoshitaha kastyajenishi. So all the gopis of Vrindavan, they left everything, their patis, their sutas, their bhratru, their bandhavas, they left everything and they came to render service to Krishna in the middle of the night, right, which is against the regular protocols of chaste, cultured women in the Vedic society. But they just came out because Krishna Prema is more important than Vedic customs and social obligations and family ties for them. They also consider themselves as servants of Krishna, right? That is the nature of Krishna's love. All devotees of all categories are imbued with emotions of being a servant of Krishna, and this emotion of being a servant of Krishna gives millions and millions of times more happiness than Brahmananda also, right? Rudra, Shiva also is imbued with Dasya Bhava. Sesha, Sankarshana, they are also imbued with Dasya Bhava. All the queens of Krishna in Dwaraka, they also think themselves as maid servants and sweepers in Krishna's palace. Rukmini Devi, Satyabhama, then Jambavati, Nagnajiti, Mitra, Mitravinda, Kalindi, Satya, all of them consider themselves as Lakshmana, 8 principal queens. Then there are 16,100 queens of Krishna. All of them consider themselves as servants of Krishna. Eka Krishna Sarva Sevya Jagata Ishvara Arayata Sabha Tara Seva Kanuchar. There is only one Ishvara, Krishna, and everyone else is either his Sevaka or Anuchara, means intimate servant or Anuchara, companion, right? Arayata Sabha Tara Seva Kanuchar, right? Even though they are Anucharas, they think themselves as Sevaka, servants. Keha Mane, Keha Na Mane, Sabatara Das, Yena Mane Tarahaya, Seyi Papenash. Some people may accept themselves as servants of Krishna, some people may not accept. That does not mean they are masters. They may not accept, but they are servants of Krishna. They may realize it today or tomorrow or after 10 years or after 10 lifetimes or in the next day of Brahma. The identity of every living being is servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Hai Krishnera Nityadas. And the real eternal happiness lies in identifying oneself as servant of Krishna and acting according to that identity. Otherwise there is no happiness. All other so-called happiness that the living entity derives by identifying oneself as controller, master, proprietor, enjoyer, creator, maintainer, etc., etc., male, female, Indian, American, Brahmana, Kshatriya, then Brahmachari, Grihastha, all these are temporary identities. We are all, this shloka is there. Naham vipro nachanarapatir napi vaishyo na sudro naham varne nachagrahapatir no vanastho itirva kintu prodyan nikhila paramananda purnamritabdher gopi bhartuhu padakamalayur dasa 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 anudasaha. That dasa emotion is the real emotion of every living being, and that emotion of being a servant of Krishna completely nourishes the soul, right? And this emotion is not only present in regular jivas, marginal energy of Krishna. This emotion of being a servant of Krishna is present even in avatars of Krishna, even in eternal associates of Krishna. Everybody. His expansions also consider themselves as servants of Krishna. And now Krishna also wanted to assume the mood of a servant or a devotee of Krishna and came in the form of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So the happiness that a devotee derives in rendering service to Krishna is even superior to Krishna's happiness in receiving that service. To that degree, the emotion of being a servant of Krishna overwhelms a living being. Chaitanya Radas Muyi Chaitanya Radas, Chaitanya Radas Muyi Tara Dase Radas. So, singing like this, Advaita Chara jumps up and down. I am Chaitanya Das, I am Chaitanya Das, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Chaitanya. Bhakta Abhimana Mula Shri Balarami Sei Bhave Anugata Tara Amshagani. The root or the cause of this emotion of being a servant of Krishna is Balaramji. Balaramji is the supreme servant of Krishna, and everyone who has these emotions of being a servant of Krishna derive that inspiration from Balaramji. He is the source of this sentiment of servitude. And all the incarnations also think themselves as servants. So we are all Amshas and Krishna is the Amshi. Amshas are supposed to render service to Amshi. Avatars are supposed to render service to Avataris. So even avatars like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, they all think themselves as servants of Krishna. Like that. It seems little too much sometimes. But actually, if we go deep into the lines of Sri Caitanya-caritamrita, Kaviraj Goswami very beautifully describes the happiness, the joy, the eternal spiritual bliss of being a servant of Krishna, which is incomparable compared to any other emotion, right? So, now, Krishnera samata haya bada bhakti padam, atma haite Krishnera bhakta haya premaspadam. So, Krishnera samata haite bada bhakta pada. Bhakta pada means being a servant of Krishna. The position of being a servant of Krishna is superior to Krishnera samata, a sense of equality with Krishna. Now Prabhupada says that Mayavadis may aspire to become equal to Krishna, one with Krishna. Okay, just for argument's sake, let's assume that they have become equal to Krishna. They have become one with Krishna. But still, devotees of Krishna are in a higher position because they are not just one with Krishna, they are greater than Krishna. Okay? Because see, for example, Mother Yashoda binds Krishna in Damodar Leela. Now, Krishna is the supreme controller. And Mother Yashoda tied up Krishna, means she controlled the controller. Who is better controller? Devotee or God? So God is definitely controller, supreme controller, but devotee is the controller of God also. So Mother Yashoda tied up Krishna and brought the entire universe under her control, because she brought the controller of the all universes under her control. Now Krishna, just some time back, Krishna showed entire universe within his belly. Now in the 8th chapter of 10th canto of Bhagavatam, Mother Yashoda has seen the entire universe in Krishna's belly. And in the 9th chapter, he tied up that belly. That's why he became Damodar. Now, universe is there within Krishna's belly and Mother Yashoda tied it up. Means all the universes came under control of Mother Yashoda. Because the controller of the universes, Krishna, is under her control. To that degree, Krishna surrenders himself to a devotee, but a Mayavadi can never bring Krishna under his control, right? And Krishna tells Uddhava also that, my dear Uddhava, you are very dear to me, right? As I completely give myself to you, I consider you more important than me. To that degree, Krishna gives importance. Like that, so many hundreds of references are there. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayantoham madanyatyena janati naham tebhyo managapi. I don't know anyone other than devotees, and devotees don't know anyone else than me. This thick relationship between me and my devotees is so strong, and Durvasa Muni, I cannot help you. He tells this to Durvasa Muni. So, Bhakta Bhava Angikari Haila Avatirna Sri Krishna Caitanya Rupe Sarva Bhave Purna. So that Krishna has accepted the emotions of being a servant, and Hailavatirna, he appeared in the form of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Because he is also imbued with emotions of being a servant. He wants to adopt the mood of a servant. So Krishna came as Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, accepting the mood of the supreme servant, Srimati Radharani, right? So now, in the context of describing Advaita Tattva, Kaviraj Goswami elaborated a lot on the emotions of being a servant, because he wanted to throw more light on the Bhakta Avatara. He's an avatar, how can he be Bhakta? Yes, even avatars also have this emotion of being a Bhakta. And he described the glories of the emotion of being a servant of Krishna. So that completes the 6th chapter of Adilila. Now let's enter the 7th chapter. 7th chapter describes Panchatattva, the Supreme Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, in 5 features. Agatyeka gatim natva hinarthakhila sadhakam Sri Caitanyam likhyatesya prema bhakti vadanyata Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Caitanya tahara charana ashrita sei bada dhanya. So initially, in the first few shlokas, our Kaviraj Goswami offers obeisances to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, and he begins to describe the glories of Panchatattva. Panchatattva ekavastu nahi kichu bheda rasa asvadite tabu vividha vibheda. So Panchatattva ekavastu, all these 5 tattvas are one. But nahi kichu bheda, there is no difference between them, but rasa asvadite, to relish rasa, vividha vibheda, they manifested in different features. So let's recite the shloka and explain. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam. So that Krishna manifests himself in 5 features, Panchatattvas. So who are they? 1. Bhakta Rupa, means Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in the form of a devotee, Bhakta Rupa. Next, Swarupakam. Swarupa means his own second form, right? It's manifested as second form, but Swarupa, it's his own form. That is Nityananda Prabhu, right? That is Prakasha Tattva, Swarupakam. Then Bhaktavataram means he incarnation as a devotee. That is Advaita Acharya. Panchatattva, Bhakta Rupa, Swarupakam, Bhaktavataram, Ishamtam, Bhaktavataram, Bhaktakhim, known as a devotee. That is Srivas Thakur. Bhakta Shaktikam, energy, potency of the Lord manifested as a devotee. That is Gadadhar Pandit, is Radharani. So these are the 5 tattvas. Bhakta Rupa, Lord Chaitanya, Swarupa, Nityananda Prabhu, Bhakta Avatara, Advaita Acharya, and Bhakta Shakti, Gadadhar Pandit, and Bhaktakhyam, known as a devotee, representing Jiva Tattva. That is our Srivas Thakur, who assumes the mode of Narada Muni at times. Right? So these are the 5 tattvas in which Krishna manifests. So now a little elaboration is given on these 5 glorious personalities. So Swayam Bhagavan is Supreme Lord Krishna. He is the supreme controller. He is the Rasaraj. He is the reservoir of all pleasures. And he is the son of Nanda Maharaj. He is Vrajesha Tanaya. And he advents himself as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the Bhakta Rupa. So he is the Supreme Lord. Bhakta Rupa, he manifested himself as a devotee, in the form of a devotee. Okay. Krishna madhuryera eka adbhuta swabhav, apana asvadite Krishna kare bhakta bhav. So Krishna madhuryera, the madhurya, the sweetness of Krishna has a very unique characteristic. What is that? That makes even Krishna also taste his own sweetness. But sugar cannot taste his own sweetness. Another person can taste. So when the sugar becomes the person and puts the sugar in his mouth, then sugar can taste itself. Similarly, Krishna, in the position of being the supreme controller or the supreme master or Ishvara, cannot completely taste his own sweetness. He has to assume the emotions of a devotee. And the devotee is Srimati Radharani, the supreme devotee, the greatest devotee. So he has to assume the emotions of a devotee to taste his own sweetness. Apana asvadite Krishna kare bhakta bhav. Apana asvadite, to taste his own self. This is elaborating on the second internal reason of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. So apana asvadite, to taste his own sweetness, Krishna accepted bhakta bhav, the emotion of being a servant. That is Radharani, and became Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So now that is Bhakta Rupa Tattva. But although he assumed the role of a devotee, he still remains as Ishvara. He still remains as Shaktiman. He does not become Shakti. So there is Shaktiman Tattva, there is Shakti Tattva. So Shaktiman Tattva is Sarvaradhya, means worshipable by everybody. Right? They are called Prabhus. So there are 3 Prabhus in the Panchatattva. In Panchatattva, Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita. These 3 are Shaktiman Tattvas. They are Purushas. They are predominators. They are Sarvaradhyas. They are Prabhus. Out of these 3 Prabhus, 2 are Prabhus. One is Mahaprabhu, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu. Like that. So Bhakta Rupa is Lord Chaitanya, Swarupa is Nityananda, Bhakta Avatara is Advaita Acharya. And out of these 3, all 3 are Prabhus, but Lord Chaitanya is Mahaprabhu, is the supreme source of all the other 2 Prabhus. Right? So they are all Vishnu Tattvas. Now other 2 in the Panchatattva, they are Shakti Tattvas, Gadadhar Pandit and Srivas Thakur. So one is Bhakta Tattva, means worshipper, that is Srivas Thakur. Then next is, Bhakta Tattva is like there are Shuddha Bhaktas, pure devotees, right? Devotees headed by Srivas Thakur. And there are Antaranga Bhaktas, very intimate devotees. So devotees are also of multiple categories. Some devotees may be very close to the Lord. Some devotees are generally worshipping the Lord. They may not be very closely associating with the Lord, but they are all devotees. So now devotees headed by Srivas Thakur, they are all Suddha Bhaktas, pure devotees. They represent the Jiva Tattva. Now devotees who are more intimate to the Lord, like Gadadhar Pandit, he is Antaranga Bhakta or Madhurya Bhakta. They are more intimate. So that is Shakti Tattva. Okay. So now there is Bhakta Tattva and Shakti Tattva. Bhakta Tattva is Srivas Thakur, Shakti Tattva is Gadadhar Pandit. Both are ultimately devotees only, but Gadadhar Pandit is more in the intimate circles, and Srivas Thakur is representing the Jiva Tattva, so amongst which there are so many other pure devotees. Okay. So now these Pancha Tattvas, these 5 Tattvas put together, all of them are acting like devotees only. All of them are imbued with the emotions of being servants of Krishna. All the 3 of them are Vishnu Tattvas, and one is Shakti Tattva, one is Bhakta Tattva. All of them are actually acting as devotees. And as devotees, what did they do? Patra Patra Vichara Nahi, Nahi Sthana Sthan, Ye Yara Paya Taha, Kare Premadan. Patra Patra Vichara Nahi. They did not discriminate between who is qualified for Krishna Prema, who is not qualified Krishna Prema. So they just distributed Krishna Prema to everybody without discriminating. Right? Patra Patra Vichar Nahi, Nahi Sthana Sthan. Okay, this place I will distribute, that place I will not distribute. No. No discrimination of place and people. So yehi yara paya tare taha kare premadan. Whomever they have seen, they just gave premadan. They gave the charity of Krishna Prema to everyone. Jagata Dubaila Jivera Haila Bijanash Tara Dekhi Pancha Janera Parama Ullas. So because they were immersing everybody in the ocean or inundation of Krishna Prema, Bijanash, Karma Bijanash, the seed of desire for enjoyment, material enjoyment in people is destroyed. So when there is inundation, there is floods, now the farmer plants so many seeds in the crop, but when there is profuse rain, so much of flood, all these seeds are just washed away. Similarly, there are so many seeds of material enjoyment, desires for material enjoyment in the hearts of people, but when Panchatattva are performing their Prema Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan, inundating the whole universe with the flood of love of Krishna, Krishna Prema, the seeds of material enjoyment are completely gone. And Tahadeki Panchajanera Parama Ullas, seeing that people are giving up their enjoyer mentality, Parama Ullas, Panchatattva's became so happy, so blissful, right? But there is a problem. There are some people who were not inundated by this prema. So flood is going everywhere, but some people very expertly stood on the shore of this flood. Somehow they managed to, and they did not accept this Krishna prema given by the Panchatattvas. Right? Who are they? Mayavadis. Then Karmanishthas means people who are too much into karmakandic activities. Kutarkikas means false logicians. Nindakas means blasphemers. Pashandis, atheistic people. Then Adhama Paduyas means bad students, fallen students. So these categories of people did not accept Krishna Prema when it was being distributed by the Panchatattvas. So the Lord had a trick. Okay, fine, I have to somehow trick them also to accept Krishna Prema. What was the trick? Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas. So he took sannyas, and naturally in that society, in that Vedic society, at least more than 500 years back, people had some respect for sannyasis. So seeing this sannyasi, even these people like Mayavadis, Karmanishthas, Kutarkikas, they also may offer obeisances to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh, sannyasi has come. May not be thinking himself as a Krishna Bhakta, but at least thinking himself as a sannyasi, they offer obeisances, but they are offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu planned, okay, seeing me as a sannyasi, they will offer me obeisances, I will forgive them from all offenses, I will give them Krishna Prema. So with this trick, Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas. We will discuss more of it when we come to the last chapter of Adilila. So then, in this way, Mahaprabhu inundated even such people also with Krishna Prema. So one such incident is described. So Kaviraj Goswami quotes some incident that happened between Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati in the 7th chapter. Actually, he did not chronologically, he did not begin to describe Mahaprabhu's pastimes chronologically yet, but he quotes one incident in this context. In Caitanya Pravaha, I took this incident and then put it in the place where the pastime actually appears, but we will discuss according to the Kaviraj Goswami's flow. So once Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan. On the way he came to Varanasi. But when he came to Varanasi, Benares, there was a great sannyasi, Mayavadi sannyasi called Prakashananda Saraswati. He would comment on Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He would criticize Lord Caitanya. He says that, oh, this is a sannyasi, sentimental sannyasi, always jumping up and down, dancing and chanting Krishna's names, and he is also accompanied by so many sentimentalists. He doesn't study Vedanta. He criticized Lord Caitanya in various ways. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu did not pay much heed to his comments, and he went to Vrindavan. And in his return journey, again he came to Varanasi. There also Prakashananda Saraswati continued to blaspheme him. But Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees, Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar Acharya, they were staying in Varanasi at that time. So they could not tolerate this blasphemy of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So they went to Lord Caitanya and said, my dear Lord, he is blaspheming you unnecessarily. Can you please do something? Please confront him. So why should he blaspheme you? We cannot tolerate any blasphemy like this. So then when they were discussing like this, one Brahmana comes to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. See the Mahaprabhu's inconceivable power. So this Brahmana comes and invites Lord Caitanya, please come to our house. I have invited several sannyasis in this Benares. So you also please accept invitation. So Mahaprabhu went there. And Prakashananda Saraswati and many other Mayavadi sannyasis also came there to this Brahmana's house. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu went to this Brahmana's house and sat at the place where everybody washed their feet. So they washed feet and they entered the house. But Mahaprabhu washed the feet and then stayed there only. And Prakashananda Saraswati saw him. And Mahaprabhu immediately manifested his effulgence. Because he is the Supreme Lord, he has this divine effulgence, Brahman effulgence. Seeing that Brahman effulgence, these Mayavadi sannyasis got attracted. Because effulgence attracts them. So there is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So Mayavadis are more attracted to Brahman features, not Bhagavan, not the Supreme Lord. So the Lord manifested Brahman effulgence, and Prakashananda Saraswati and all of them came forward and then asked Mahaprabhu, please come, why are you sitting in this filthy place? This is a place where people wash their feet. You are a great sannyasi, effulgent sannyasi. Why should you sit in this place? And Mahaprabhu humbly says, no, I am not very qualified sannyasi. I will sit here only. Then Prakashananda Saraswati catches Mahaprabhu's hand and then takes him. So Mahaprabhu, by his beauty, by his effulgence, by his overall humble demeanor, he completely captivated the hearts of Prakashananda Saraswati. After melting his heart, he defeats him philosophically also and gives them Krishna Prema. That is Mahaprabhu's style, his unique style. So now, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the invitation of Prakashananda Saraswati and then sat in the middle of all these sannyasis. Now these sannyasis had a lot of appreciation for Mahaprabhu now. Although they were critical, Prakashananda Saraswati and the sannyasis asked Mahaprabhu, oh, you look so effulgent, you are so great. Why do you associate with sentimental people and chant Hare Krishna, chant Krishna's names and dance and sing and jump up and down? Why do you do all these things? Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, please don't take offense, I will tell the real reason. It's very, very nice discussion that happens, but I will have to summarize in few minutes. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, my dear sannyasis, let me tell you, why am I chanting the holy names and dancing up and down? Now he says that my Guru instructed me to chant the holy names of Krishna. Okay, he said that I am not qualified to read scriptures, but I must chant the holy names of Krishna. So simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, I will obtain freedom from material existence and I will attain the lotus feet of the Lord. This is what my Guru taught me, and this is the essence of all scriptures also. Even if I read scriptures, this is the essence that I must arrive at. I am already implementing it by my Guru's order. So Nama Vinu Kalikale Nahiyara Dharma Sarva Mantra Sara Nama Yeyi Shastra Marma. Nama Vinu Kalikale Nahi Kuchu Dharma. Apart from chanting the holy names of Krishna, there is no other dharma in Kali Yuga. And Shastra, Sarva Mantra Sara Yeyi Nama. So the essence of all mantras is this Krishna's holy name only. And Yei Shastra Marma, this is what scriptures are teaching us. Shatrochhedaika mantram sakalam upanishadvakya sampujya mantram samsarochheda mantram samuchita tamasaha sangha niryana mantram. So all the Upanishads also worship Krishna mantra, and this Krishna mantra can completely destroy samsara. Right? In this way, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu glorified the process of chanting the holy names, and he also quoted this shloka: Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam, kalau nastyeva, 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 gatiranyatha. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. In this Kali Yuga, the only process of deliverance is to chant the holy names of Lord Hari. Harer Nameva, Nameva, Nameva. 3 times he says. This 3 times repetition is for emphasis, right? So when I chant this holy name of Krishna, I just become very ecstatic, and this chanting completely bewilders me. So after chanting for some time, I went to my Guru Maharaj, my spiritual master, and asked him, Kiba mantra dila gosai, kibatara bala, japite japite mantra karila pagala. What kind of mantra you have given me, O Gosai, O Gurudev? By chanting japa, by doing japa several times, chanting of these holy names, pagala, I have become mad, in ecstasy, in spiritual joy. What kind of mantra have you given me? So then, hearing this, my spiritual master said that this is the power of holy name of Krishna. It can completely make you mad. It can overwhelm you with the spiritual desires and spiritual joy, right? Very good that you have chanted the holy name so attentively. Krishna Vishayaka Prema Parama Purushartha Yara Age Trinatulya Chari Purushartha. Krishna Prema is Parama Purushartha. The highest goal of human life is to develop Krishna Prema. Prema Pumartho Mahan. In comparison to this Purushartha, all the 4 Purusharthas are like Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. They are useless. Trinatulya, they are as good as blades of grass. Panchama Purushartha Premanandamrita Sindhu Mokshadi Anandayara Nahe Eka Bindu. In comparison to this Panchama Purushartha, 5th human goal, that is Krishna Prema, all the other Purusharthas are like useless. They are not even comparable to Eka Bindu, one small drop of this ocean of happiness of chanting Krishna's names, right? So, because my Guru has approved it, I am just chanting. Even Rupa Goswami also says, Tunde Tandavi Niratim Vitanute Tundavali Labdhaye Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate Karnarbhute Haspraham Cheta Prangana Sangini Vijayate Sarvendriyanam Kritim No Jane Janita Kiyadbhiramrtai Krishneti Varnadvayi. Tunde Tandavini, when the holy name of Krishna is dancing on my tongue, I desire millions of tongues. When the holy name of Krishna is entering my ear holes, I desire millions of ears. When the holy name of Krishna is dancing in front of the courtyard of my heart, I desire to do nothing else other than chanting the holy names of Krishna. No jane janita ki yadbhiramrtaihi krishneti varnadvayi. I don't understand what great nectar is embedded within these 2 varnas, 2 syllables, Krish and Na. So, this is the ecstasy that great devotees experience. Rupa Goswami, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Krishna name ye ananda sindhu aswadan brahmananda tara age khato dakasam. In front of the ananda of Krishna nama, Brahmananda is useless, right? So now all the Mayavadi sannyasis heard this big holy name seminar from Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they became so happy, and they approved, yes, we understand the glories of Krishna Nam, we are already happy. But why don't you study Vedanta? What's the problem? We understand, you are chanting Krishna's names and you are genuinely becoming ecstatic. There is no sentimentalism or there is no acting here. But what's your problem? Why can't you discuss Vedanta with all of us? And Mahaprabhu said, if you don't mind, I'll reveal some truths. And Prakashananda Saraswati became little humble. Okay, fine, tell me what is that truth. Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said there are some defects in Shankaracharya's philosophy. Actually, Vedanta Sutra is very clear. Vyasadeva has written it very clearly. But by the Sharirika Bhashya given by Shankaracharya, the original meanings of Vedanta Sutra are completely destroyed and destructed. Right? So there is something called Mukhya Vritti, or direct meanings of the verses of Vedanta Sutra. And there is Gauna Vritti, indirect meanings. So these indirect meanings given by Shankaracharya, they distort the meaning of the Vedanta Sutra. So according to the direct understanding, absolute truth is the supreme person. He is a person. And but you consider that supreme person to be impersonal. Shankaracharya's Bhashya considers like that. And Vyasadeva has given Parinamavada and Shankaracharya introduced Vivartavada. I'll tell what are they in short. Parinamavada means the theory of transformation. Means the Supreme Lord is supremely energetic and he has so many energies. And these energies cause various transformations in this world. So they transform and manifest so many things. So the energies of the Lord are getting transformed, the Lord is intact. So the energies of the Lord manifest so many varieties in this world. That is Parinamavada, very clearly understandable. But Shankaracharya misinterpreted this, Vyasadeva's explanation, and presented some Vivartavada. Oh, Vyasadeva is mistaken. He says that the Lord is transformed. And how can the Lord be transformed? So whatever we see, the variegatedness that we see in this world is not transformation of the Lord, it is all illusion. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So the Supreme Lord is absolute truth, and whatever variegatedness that we see in this world is mithya, it is illusion, illusory. Okay. So this is called Vivartavada, theory of illusion. But problem is, Vyasadeva never said the Lord is getting transformed. Vyasadeva only said that the Lord is energetic and his energies are transforming. But the Lord is intact. So he gives the example of a touchstone. A touchstone may convert several objects into gold, but the touchstone is intact. Similarly, the Lord may cause different transformations through his energies, but he himself is intact. The Lord is not transformed. So unnecessarily, Shankaracharya has confused people by giving misinterpretation of Vedanta Sutras and then making things very complicated. And he also equates the Lord and the Jiva. The Lord is supremely potential and the Jiva is subjected to Maya. The Lord is the source and the controller of Maya. He is Mayadhish and the Jiva is Maya Vash. Means he is controlled by Maya. But Shankaracharya equates the Lord and the Jiva. So the Jiva is qualitatively equal to the Lord but not quantitatively. Jiva is Anu, the Lord is Vibhu. The Lord is like a big ocean, Jiva is like a drop of ocean. The Lord is like big fire and the Jiva is like spark of fire. And unnecessarily he equates the Lord and the Jiva completely and brings the Lord to the position of Jiva. So these all are very bad misinterpretations. So that's why I don't study this Shankaracharya's explanation. Right? So Mayavadi Sannyasi said, yes, all this is word jugglery of Shankaracharya. So we accept your explanation. But what to do? We belong to his sect, that's why we accept. So you tell the direct meanings. So then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, to this third question asked by Mayavadi Sannyasis, he describes the direct meanings of Vedanta Sutra, mainly 3 points. So this Vedic literatures describe 3 things. One is Sambandha, our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Second is Abhideya, the process of reviving that eternal relationship, that is Bhakti Yoga. And third is Prayojana, the goal of human life, which is to develop love for Krishna. This is what our scriptures teach us. Okay. Krishnera charana haya yadi anurag, Krishna vinu anyatra tara nahi raherag. So if we attain this prayojana of Krishna prema, means developing love for Krishna, we don't develop any attachment to anything material in this world. Panchama purushartha se prema mahadhana, Krishnera madhurya rasa karaya asvadhana. So this prema, is the Panchama Purushartha, is the fifth goal of human life, and that love, Krishna Prema, can even make Krishna happy. If you love Krishna and serve Krishna with that love, Krishna becomes so happy. Prema haite Krishna haya nija bhakta vasham, prema haite paya Krishnera seva sukharasa. So only when there is prema in the heart of a devotee, Krishna becomes ecstatic. And hearing all these nice explanations from Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, mainly three things. One is the glories of holy name. Second is the defects in Shankaracharya's philosophy. Third is the direct meanings of Vedanta Sutra that describe Sambandha, Vidya and Prayojana. So hearing all this, Mayavadis got completely transformed and they also became devotees. So after delivering all these Mayavadis in Varanasi, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu went back to Jagannath Puri. So this incident is quoted by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu in this context where he is describing Panchatattva. Now he continues the glories of Panchatattva. So this Panchatattva inundated the entire world with Krishna Prema, and thus he concludes the 7th chapter. So we completed 7 chapters of Adilila today in the 3rd session of Caitanya Pravaha. These 7 chapters elaborately describe the first 14 shlokas of Mangalacharan. So having completed Mangalacharan by now, so in the next session of Caitanya Pravaha, we will begin with the 8th chapter, where we see the inspiration of Kaviraj Goswami to compile this Sri Caitanya-caritamrita. Sri Caitanya-caritamrita ki jai, Srila Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.